I'm a gacha tourist, and I have been trying a bunch of gacha games to see which one I would like the most, without spending a single money on them. These games always made me very curious due to their art style and the fact that they are free to play. The thing is, when someone tells me the word gacha, I know you're trying to tell me what type of game is. But what I hear instead is the business model the game has. I know saying this will make you want to correct me, because there is more to it than that, but I'm just telling you my initial reaction before I gave any of these games a real time. So before I start in telling you the experience I had with these games, hola, I'm Ox, and welcome or welcome back. Usually I don't really mention this, but considering there are a lot of people that don't know me, I think it's fair to point out that everything I say in my videos is just my opinion and my perspective. So unless I say it's a fact or something related, take it as just what one guy says. Now that is out of the way, let's start ranting. Nah, don't worry. I'm not gonna hate on your favorite games. In fact, this video was gonna be quite different and longer, but after giving it a second thought, I scrapped some of the parts away because I feel like with some games I need more playtime to form an opinion, and with other games, they didn't really leave me a lasting impression, neither positive nor negative, to consider them worth to talk about for me now. However, I won't feel that I'm being honest if I completely ignore Genshin Impact, which is a game that I played in the past till reaching Inazuma, and if you enjoy the story of this game, don't worry, cause I'll give it a check on YouTube another time to understand the appeal of that. But I'm not gonna play it again, cause my opinion about the game is 50% tainted with the content that I saw.
I feel disgusting. That's what Genshin Impact is to me.
And another 50% of just pure game design analysis. And I understand that if you stop playing Genshin Impact, you really wanna hear me talking about all that. But I wanna wake up with my kidney tomorrow, so let's just start with the video for once. If you asked me about CCC back when I played it when it was released, I would have told you that this is the best gacha game I have played by far. It has a nice vibe, incredible character design, amazing combat, and it doesn't consume as much time as any of the other open world gacha games. And the story is kinda whatever, but at least you have a skip button. Okay, how much my opinion changed now that I played it again pretty much for this video? Well, first of all, the reason I dropped it on release, it's very silly, but probably some of you can relate. I lost the 50-50 on a character that I wanted. I don't remember who it was, but after grinding for it and not getting it, I just gave up and played something else instead. And now, am I gonna keep playing after this video is done? Very unlikely, I would say. Maybe it's a skill issue, but I didn't finish the story and I already find it very repetitive. In theory, I have amazing characters, from what I have read in that build's website that pops in Google first of all these games. But I wasn't even trying to play the meta to begin with, I just liked the two characters that were on the banners the time I played it. And I was lucky enough to get both, with all the comeback rewards and whatnot. The thing is, I enjoy hack and slash games a lot, but my fingers hurt less when I play a song on Guitar Hero in Expert than playing this game. I'm not sure how bad this is a problem in the endgame, but I just feel the bosses have a lot of health. I know it sounds like something very specific that shouldn't be a big issue, but hear me out. When I play a trial character in a story, I expect to melt those bosses, considering you are giving me to try characters in order to pull for them later on and potentially invest money on it. And with this game, it doesn't matter if I'm playing my characters with the trial ones, if I'm doing the story, if I'm farming for gear, leveling up, or doing side content. I just feel like every time I play, if the mission doesn't have a boss fight, I can keep playing. But if it has a boss fight, I'm completely burned out from the game for a few days. Something that it kinda makes no sense to me, cause I feel like this game is designed to be mostly played on phone rather than PC or consoles. At least that's the impression I got on how a lot of the system works and is structured. So making the boss fights that long goes against that, I feel. And despite talking a lot about the bosses, I just remember really how hard they were for me, but I cannot name you or tell you which is which, because I find them very forgettable as well, funny enough. So yeah, it left me with the impression that that's just how the game is now, and unless I play it very casually, I won't really touch it again. It was very tiring. I was just gonna leave it like that, but I don't think it would be fair. The reason why I don't talk about the good sides much is because you can see them in the footage. I just feel like it's not a game that I enjoy in the long term simply because the difficulty is very inconsistent, or I don't know how to build my characters well despite the huge amount of cutscenes they spent for explaining me how to play the game. So my point still stands, but since I didn't reach it till the end, I can't figure it out entirely if it's a flaw in design, what I dislike about this game, or just my fault. The game that I actually played from start to being caught up with the story, at least from the time I'm doing this video. If you reach this part in the video, apart from asking you to leave a like and subscribe, I'm gonna tell you something. If you think I'm a Hoyoverse hater for whatever reason, let me tell you that Wuthering Waves also has actually some stuff that I dislike. And the reason why I'm gonna be harsh on them is because it's the only game that I played the longest enough for me to feel even more confident to criticize. I mean, no death threats does help too, but there isn't anything that guarantees me that I won't get any either way, so let's just get it out of the way. I don't care for self-insert main characters unless I can customize them. Without that, they feel less like a blank slate and more like a well-crafted but empty chest. That's why I found the first entire region of the story very boring, to the point that I skipped almost everything about it. So let me tell you that if you haven't played this game yet but it looks interesting to you, I hope the combat, exploration and aesthetic hooks you enough to keep going. Cause I hate to say this, but the initial part of the game is probably the worst the game has. And I don't say this because it's awful or a drag, it's fun. Like, hell, it's more fun than a lot of the $70 open world games, but it certainly leaves you with the first impression that something unique is missing to this game. And I didn't mention this, but it was mainly the reason why I dropped the game on release too, cause the combat it was nice, running around it was nice as well, but it has a lot of the gacha system on surface was about the same as the other gacha games I played. But even skipping cutscenes there, with the summary text that you get when you do, I could understand everything that was going on. However, this time, when I played it, and the reason why this video exists in the first place is because I created a new account to know exactly what everything was about, even skipping cutscenes again, how the system worked and what not. In fact, despite all the grievances I can have with Genshin Impact, I can fully understand why a Genshin player tried this game and didn't like it that much, especially if you already invested time and money in the other one. But when you pass the first region, it's progressively a lot better. So sadly, yes, it is one of those games that it does get better after. And how better? I'm gonna specify when I'm talking about spoilers about the story of the game only later on, but I think you need to hear this before reaching that part. It's so refreshing to play not only a gacha game, a free game with narrative, that the protagonist not only has a voice, that if you played it dubbing English, the voice actor actually gets incredibly better later on, and with more dialogues as well, but also has a personality, makes decisions that aren't based on what you choose most of the time. It really is a main character. Stuff happen in the story because of them and not the side characters. But this doesn't mean like everyone else around them is completely useless. I will say almost everyone has their moment to shine. This made every cutscene that I watched since they started talking about the main character backstory in detail a complete joy, and you feel the connections between characters as well. But narrative is not everything that improves the more you play. You can fly. This is just a mechanic of the game, so if you count this as a spoiler, I'm sorry in advance, but it's so fun to explore around the flying mechanic. It makes the regions even bigger due to that. An exploration that sometimes improved due to the grappling hook points, and other times just because the stamina bar is generous on how it works. And the combat, I think for the most part it's fun. If anything, what you encounter later on, it's better pacing and you get to try different characters that are overtuned, so basically you melt everything when you play them. Which I'm more than aware that is there to sell you the character of the patch, but I don't care. It's just fun. I don't mind that it's an adding cover. I just had fun playing them. Granted though, I didn't do any endgame, so I cannot tell you how well the difficulty of the game is balanced, but I can say in the story for the most part it's well balanced. If anything, the pacing of the bosses could improve, cause a lot of the times I saw myself doing anything but waiting for the boss to come to me. Not even dodging attacks, just waiting. Cause running in a straight line to them would hit me most of the time. I don't know, maybe if they added something like grappling points in the boss rooms, it would make it more fun that way. And to be honest, this is something that I didn't mention in other games. I think it's fair to say that Wuthering Waves is a generous game when it comes to give you resources to get the characters you want for free. This doesn't mean you will get them all for free, but it's likely that you will get the ones you like at least. And in my opinion, the new characters and zones look 10 times better than the old ones. Now, when it comes to actual spoiler narrative territory, you will see it on the screen right now where to skip to. I will try to make this part kinda short because I feel like if you reach till here, there will be no surprise for you. I'd say I enjoy everything that happens since I reached the black shirts. I think it's fair to mention that the Mount Firmament arc, it's fine and it's better than Shinzo, but for me personally, Black Shores before and after were two different games story-wise. The whole Rinascita arc has been one of my favorites so far. I enjoyed playing with Lupa and Carlota a lot. The Septunaria is nice as well. I even enjoyed Frolova's story and how it ended. It made sense for Robert to not save her. I saw a few story discussions about why they ruined Robert because of this, but I gotta be honest, I still think this is the best decision Kuro Games took with the story so far. Maybe I will eat my words later, but I don't really know yet. I'm just glad that Frolova wasn't another waifu to be saved like the rest. But even those made sense why Robert saved them. It wasn't only because of the personal attachment, they actually had a bigger purpose in the story as well. At this point, I'm not even sure how long this video has been, so I wanna finish saying that probably Wuthering Waves is the only gacha game I will stick around for a while. The conclusion I got by playing all these games is that a lot of them are just very time demanding and some even money, but since I am a free to play, I should stick with what I like the most. However, if you talk with another people apart from me that aren't from the gacha community itself, I think it's more than fair to say most people consider Genshin Impact the face of gacha games still, so despite if I like or not that game, it's positive for every other gacha game that Genshin ends up being the best game it can be, so the competition won't make the other companies lazy and develop less quality games and vice versa. But anyhow, I hope you all liked this video. If you did, make sure to leave a like, and I will see you in the next one.